Happened in the 90's.
Let me guess. You crave a big, bold taste. You crave the wave. Everybody wants it. What you gonna see? Everybody wants it. Baby, don't you see? A lot of flavors. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. So what's it gonna be? Why? Crave the wave.
You know how women have their periods, Matt?
I'm familiar with that, yeah.
Yeah, that's how we're starting this one off, man. So, like, what if in a world the tables were reversed and like every month, like guys would have like a kidney stone for a couple days or like up to a week, and we would get passes for it from time to time. Like we could leave work early, call off, and it'd be understanding. We could have like outrages, outbursts, and people would get our plight.
Okay. I'm
Like, oh, his dick hurts.
intrigued right now. I am definitely intrigued with what you're saying. So can I ask one question? Are you saying I'm gonna get a kidney stone? Or it's just like a period? I don't want a kidney stone, Steve. I don't know if you ever had it. That's worse. You don't want that.
Well, I'm trying to like. I think that's the most comparable thing to like having your unit in pain, or or just like a. It doesn't have to be a kidney stone. It could just be a like out of nowhere pain. You're just hurting down there. You're just like, fuck everybody for the next couple of days. I want to fight.
Okay, well, as long as you're aware, like, see, in this alternate universe, we're aware of this. It's not just like an ultimate pain that comes out of nowhere, because then I'd be scared. I'd go immediately to the doctor.
Yeah.
I could ignore anything else in my body. My leg could fall off, and I'll be like, you know what? I think it's fine. Like, it's probably just like I have allergies, but if my dick hurts or something's happening to my dick, we're going to the doctor. Call every doctor in the state because I need to see all of them and get all of the opinions to make sure I'm going to be okay. So,
And some can be more severe.
Okay, well, again, if it gets me off work a couple of days, as somebody who works from home, maybe it's not that big priority. But again, hey, a couple extra days, I'm into it. As long as I'm not bleeding from the dick.
Is that blood?
What the fuck is that?
Are you bleeding?
I think I could get right on board this train.
Well, you're responsible, so I think you would get the proper ointments and gels needed to rectify the situation and to prevent it from getting any worse. But from time to time, I think we would all need to leave work early. Hey, boss, I can't make it. My dick hurts. All right, go ahead.
Steve, you look like you're. First of all, we're having a couple of issues. You're sort of doing a little less work today, so I just want to make sure. Are you okay?
It's that time of the month. My dick hurts.
Oh, Jesus. Go home, okay?
It's been acting up.
Hey, it's gonna be okay, man.
You understand?
My dick hurts like a motherfucker right now, but I'm dead inside.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, so
All right.
Go home, touch yourself if you need to. Come back to work when your dick's feeling better, kid.
Hey, boss, where's he going? You heard the man. His dick hurts.
Joey's off today. Dick hurts. God.
There's no way she's pregnant. My dick has been hurting for the last 2 weeks. I'm not even fertile.
Honey, I swear, my dick was hurting that whole time. So this is impossible. See, I like this. Now I'm liking this more and more, Steve. More and more, this sounds like maybe we can just like make this a thing. You can kind of make your own causes now with the internet. Like maybe we just do this. Men with
Because
periods.
sometimes men hurt down here.
Sometimes when we touch, the moment is too much. Steve,
Man,
I think we figured out the next cult. Men with periods, Steve.
And hey, we trying to be more empathetic at the same time to the women's plight. I couldn't imagine
It is
what
very
that's
well.
like.
I gotta say, I gotta hand it to you as a social justice warrior. The social justice warrior inside me, that's buried way deep inside, is just like really applauding you for your wokeness. So good job in that regard. Very woke of you,
Uh, I applaud your hairdo. It's very Pat Riley.
Steve. Don't fucking do not go against the Pat Riley, Steve.
Dude, I'm all for Pat Riley.
How do you be great before you're great? You emulate greatness, okay?
Exactly. I'm here for it. That's why I'm giving you props.
You know what?
Dude,
I got a little bit hurt. I got a little bit offended, but I see now that was just me being a little bit timid, a little bit shy.
Is that time of the month? Is that time of the month, Matthew?
My dick hurts so bad right now. Okay.
Oh, I understand. Okay, I understand that. Okay.
I just got my feeling. But now that you see man, Steve, I just thought I was going with a white guy that's sort of having some upper hair issues, just trying to cover up. But now that you're bringing in the great Pat Riley, I mean, I feel great about myself. Give me a $3,000 Armani suit. I mean,
dude, I've been telling you that since day one, Matt. Like, that is the look. Like, that is just fucking slick that shit back. Keep the sides tight.
I need to get I saw this, remember when Rick Rude was like a GM in WWE and he wore suits all the time?
With DX, yeah.
Yeah, dude. See, that's what I'm trying to do. I need to just get just a lot of roids somehow and just really lean into that. Because if I can come out of all this COVID shit looking like Rick Rude and DX, I mean, what if we meet someday and I can hide it a little bit, but then I show up just yoked as shit looking like Rick Rude? I mean, would you get respected or would you laugh at it immediately?
Oh, dude. Hey, man, gains is gains.
I don't know if I can handle that, Steve. I think if I got to that level, I've just never had access to roids. I mean, I've been working out, a lot, but just a Rick Rude level, that's just, I think I might be hoping for too much at this point.
Well, dude, if you go that route, man, you got to get free tickets to the gun show. Everybody got to see those.
I don't want to break the camera, Steve. If I start flexing, I mean, you don't want that. I don't want to make you feel bad. So.
Oh, that's so empathetic of you, man. It's that time of the month for me. Yeah, man.
Are you hurt or is your dick hurting?
Both.
Okay. Just checking. This got weird.
Hey, boys and girls. Yeah, man, let's get the fuck away from that shit. Hey, this has happened in the 90s with Steve G and Matt G, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your Tommy Hilfiger and your Nike Air Forces because you might as well be walking on the sun.
Smash Mouth! Get a trumpet, Steve. I used to play trumpet, dude. I could have been in Smash Mouth. I might still. Are they still touring? I could get into
they're
Smash
alive.
Mouth. I mean, dude, Guy Fieri. Get Guy Fieri. They probably tour with him. They're like his house band. They might be. I mean, we might need to look that up. I might have just said something that's actually a thing. So.
Yeah, man. They would be sponsored by Walmart or some shit, man. And I actually they had some tracks that I like, man. I like Walking in the Sun and the All-Star song, but radio destroyed a lot of great things. And the All-Star song, when that shit came out, it was in trailers for movies. It was on VH1, MTV. Hell, they might even play the shit on BET. And it was just it got to the point where I was like, man, fuck this song, fuck Smash Mouth. And that's not fair to Smash Mouth.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to blame somebody that for being prolific. And like you said, I mean, it not only was Buzz 106.5, shout out Buzz 1, I'm sure that doesn't exist, but they played the fuck out of it. It was all over radio. It would be playing as music in stores at the time. I mean, from what I remember, they played that in movie theater, so you heard it everywhere. And then when you're
Everywhere.
watching a fucking movie, when they're like introing a high school or like a party that's just starting, that might as well be Walking on the Sun shit would be always, that was the, I mean, how much money did they get paid in royalties off of their music in Hollywood? That's probably what they got fucking rich on, honestly.
Dude, like people talk shit about one hit wonders, but like if you're smart with that shit, fuck it. Like you know how to flip that. I mean, look at Sir Mix-a-Lot. He ain't got to do shit. Like he literally, like he could have somebody shit for him. Like, ah man, I got gas. Hey, fucking slave boy, fucking take the shit for me. All right. Ugh. Where the fuck? I don't even know where I went with that. Yeah, that
Sir
just
Mix-a-Lot is wild with it, dude. What the fuck? I mean, I
Yeah.
get it when you're paid, but just like going to that level of just straight up servitude, I don't think. Is it,
I
how
don't even
much
feel
money
like
did
shit.
Sir Mix-a-Lot make? Because this is some Hitler level of shit they were talking about here. It's crazy.
Here's my kidney. Shit for me. Give it back to me,
Boy.
boy.
Oh,
That's how
sad.
much money Sarah Mix-a-Lot has.
Well, shout out to Sir Mix-a-Lot. I agree with you, Steven. I mean, when people shit on them, I get it. It's funny to make fun of a one-hit wonder, but in terms of making a shit ton of money off, it's like at least it's like you don't behoove a lottery winner for getting a shit ton of money all at once. Why behoove somebody who actually has talent enough to make a hit song? I mean, if you like it or not, I mean, fuck it. They somehow they had some hits. And Smash Mouth, Nickelback, we were all listening to this shit for a while back then, but then it became corny, just like it always does. And do I like hearing the shit? Like you'll go and hear like 90s cover bands, and Smash Mouth is always in heavy rotation along with like Sublime and shit. So when I hear it now, my eyes roll. You know, but I'm a cynical person, Steve. I'm not a good person. So
that's why we're friends.
Exactly. You know, we like to hate things to show reverence, and that's fine. But am I gonna I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment. I don't own anything. I don't really have a lot of money saved up. I'm just trying to live my best life. Smash Mouth might be doing some Sir Mix-a-Lot level shit where they're shitting into, you know, some guy's hand and having another guy wipe their ass and so on and so forth. So congratulations and salute to Smash Mouth. While we are haters, as it's been widely shown, you know, me and Steve both hate exclusively. That's our only emotion. Salute to Smash Mouth. You did it. And hopefully you're wiping your ass with hundreds right now while we're trying to make 100s at all. So,
man, I know that must hurt being such a negative Nancy, man, giving people their shine and their flowers.
Hold on 1 second. Fuck you, Smash Mouth.
Oh.
God. Oh, it just came out. I can't even stop it, Steve. That's how bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's so disgusting. Oh my God. What is that up there, Matt? Is that somebody's happiness? Get that shit down here. Yeah. Let me fill it in with piss. Huh.
I'm better. I'm fine. See, that's what weed is for, Steve. That's what weed is for people like us. It keeps that emotion. Instead of us pulling people down like crabs in a bucket, it makes us fine being the crabs at the bottom of the bucket or just having crabs. But, that's one of the benefits.
Was it Waldorf and Statler?
I don't know what the fuck that is, but yes, that's what
it's the heckler, the Muppet hecklers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, they're probably high. They look high as fuck.
They're the
probably
goats
on that same level. Yeah, they are the goats. It's them, Don Rickles, then maybe.
Oh yeah, we're up there.
We're getting there, Steve. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. We'll get there.
Today it's July 8th. We're talking about all things July 8th in the 90s. Going to be talking about some real world for the first time when 7 strangers get in the house and things become real. We're going to be talking about Rocco's Modern Life. We're going to be talking about a little bit of baseball, the All-Star game that happened in Cleveland in 97. But in 1990, on July 8th, at 12:34:56, the time was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0.
What? And it didn't. The world didn't end?
That is,
Wow.
yeah, that is some weird and wild stuff indeed.
Yeah, that is bizarre. You see, somebody did some satanic shit that night. They were,
I
they
hope.
had some pentagrams lit. And they were like, "This is it. The Dark Lord is coming." Then nothing happened, and they watched
Feed me your virgins.
yeah, but nothing happened. And while it looks cool, what more can I say about this? I mean, I don't know where to
Yeah,
go with this.
yeah, not much, just a fun fact. But in 1991, the show Shop Till You Drop premiered on Lifetime television for women. And I watched this from time to time in the afternoons because I lived in a household full of women. And, this and Supermarket Sweep, this was a constant, especially in the summertime. They would have this in syndication, and this thing lasted for years. And I believe they brought it back. If not, it was either this one or Supermarket Sweep or both.
I think it was Supermarket Sweep with Leslie
Supermarket.
Jones.
That you're right. Yeah.
But this show, yeah. See, this was one of the cool things about living in the 90s and faking sick a lot or being homesick from school or in the summertime too. You get exposed to these like what I call USA Network game shows that were syndicated shows that like this, where it was, something that was a network worthy game show, but there was all shopping related. Like you had to like run around in a cart, put a bunch of shit in and answer questions about how much, it was like very much Price is Right, but with this weird 80s porn style look to it that all USA Network shows had. I love this show. I love Supermarket Sweep. Me and my grandma, we used to watch these shows quite a bit and play Chinese checkers.
Nice.
That's an old school. Maybe people don't even know about that, but me and Grandma Shunk, heavy into USA Network, heavy into Chinese checkers, yelling at these people for fucking up constantly. So a lot of fond memories of this. Love this shit.
Man. Now, in 1993, The Real World Los Angeles is airing the episode Too Many Catfights in This House. Beth causes a huge rift in the tentative friendship among the roommates when she brings all of them, including Dominic, who initially does not want to go, to a party that she wasn't even invited to. The roommates are asked to leave.
And drama ensues, Steve. But before we get into this, I feel like it's good for us just to sort of educate the listener on the cast of characters that we're going to be talking about. So this changed, and I'll explain that as I go through this. But like you said, we got 7 people on the show. We have Dominic, who you mentioned. He's sort of a grungy looking. He looks like he's in a grunge rock band. He's always got a leather coat on. I believe he may be a writer, if I'm not mistaken.
For Variety, I believe.
Yeah. So coming in with fully employed, working, but looking very much like he goes to the Viper Room and just watches Johnny Depp play and wishes he was him. So that's Dominic. Then we got Tammy. Tammy is a woman, a black woman, the only black woman on the show. She's very hot. She's not in this episode very much, but she's one of the ones I remember from this season because she's hot as shit. So, Tammy, what's up? Then we got John, the cowboy douchebag. He's 18. He's from some fucking farm, some fucking place, and he's constantly putting his fucking cowboy boot in his mouth.
Louisville.
He's from Louisville.
Louisville.
Very much cowboy, very much looks like what he looks like. He is what he looks like. So judge that book by his cover. We got Irene, who is, you can't really see her in that photo. She is a female police officer in Los Angeles, coincidentally, also coming with a job. Yeah, LAPD, not loving that. She seems to be a bailiff at this point in a court, so very much not like somebody out there busting skulls, but she does have a gun. She doesn't hesitate to show it or clean it at the house. But
she seems to be a bitch.
Yeah, she's got some things that I don't like, and I will get into that. We have Dave, who is a very famous person from this season because he is eventually booted off. He is the guy to the left of Steve there, the black dude with the hat backwards. He's a comedian in Los Angeles. He is a live wire, and he seems to have a very short fuse. Let's put it like that. But I don't blame him. You can see what he's surrounded by, the cast of Baywatch and CMT. And he's a guy in Los Angeles coming from a different area of town. So very much an interesting guy in this episode and a very famous person, which we'll get into. Then we got Aaron, I believe his name is, who is that David Chokachi looking dude to the left of Steve. He looks like he's on Baywatch. He may have been on Baywatch at some point. I'm not sure. Maybe. He's barely in this episode. He's boring as shit. He looks dumber than a jar of mayonnaise, but very beautiful to look at.
Is Zach Morris extra?
Yeah, exactly. He is the stand-in so they can light the steam while, Mark Paul Gosselaar went into his trailer and did whatever I hope he was doing at that time. And then,
Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
I hope so. Or Lark or all of them, maybe. That's what I thought. But anyway, Sidetrack Sally. Then we have Beth. Beth is the woman well, there you go. She's holding a cat. Judge that book by his cover. She's very much a dingbat. She's very much somebody I would not want to live with. And she becomes the crux of this episode for being a complete idiot and taking people to a mansion party they're not invited to. So these are our cast. There's actually there's two other people that were in this show because David was removed from the show by his castmates for his attitude, and to be honest, I don't think they liked black people, Steve. So they tried to get him out. I don't know. He seems like he's got an attitude, but I feel like I would have been able to hang out with David, and because he is a comedian. But all these people are saying wild shit to him, so I feel like he did not care for that, and then he felt like he had to step up and just maybe pop somebody in the mouth, which I fully support. But anyway, he gets kicked off. Some other guy comes in from Philly. His name is Glenn, actually, but we don't need to talk about him. And then there's another Beth brought in because Irene, the cop, gets married mid-season, leaves, and then they bring in another Beth, who is a white chick who may or may not have been in the Cranberries band, but she very much looks like somebody in that, that look. But again, she's not here. Those are the cast of characters of Real World Los Angeles. And Steve, this is the true story of when seven strangers get in a house, and I don't want to watch it because this shit is boring as fuck. It is not entertaining. But your thoughts?
Well, thank you for that backstory and the rundown of the characters, man. Out of all of the 90s real world renditions, this is one of the more memorable ones for me because I remember watching this. I believe this is the second season. The first season was New York, and here we are in Los Angeles. And the moment that stands out, like you said, is when David is voted off the island. And I remember when he pulled the blanket off of Tammy, and that was what led the whole fiasco. They're playing, it's playful, and they had a friendship, you could say. They had a somewhat
David
of a bond.
in this episode admits she's fine. I mean,
she is.
You're these people are young people. This is still a real world, but this is not the real world we all know and love, where they're just giving these kids open bars and just bikinis and telling them to do everything but fuck on camera while you're drunk. So that's what I'm saying. This is very tame. I remember what you're talking about with Dave and Tammy. And honestly, if everyone watches this episode, the intro, the only footage I could get of this season that I was usable was what you're talking about, is Dave ripping the cover off Tammy. And I used that, even though it's not technically accurate. So that's just a little behind the scenes from happened in the 90s, Soundtrack Sally. Sorry, Steve.
And I remember watching this. I believe we were 9 at the time, 9 or 10. And I even when I watched it as a kid, I just didn't think it was fair. It was like, damn, like that was pretty drastic. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like she was butt ass naked. She had on like a bathing suit, and like he thought it was just, innocent playing, just like, hey, we're, goofing around, and he pulls the blanket off her, and they try to make it seem like that was assault. Like, oh, dude, see,
It was that roommate shit where they, he does in this episode, you see it. He's very combative. And again, I'm on his side of this because the reason he's combative is, John the cowboy will say some wild shit about like rap music when they're having a conversation. And he'll say, I mean, it's fucking racist shit. He says like, I just thought you sold drugs, or it's all about this or that. And it's just very much that dumb white attitude you hear in the Midwest or from the South. It's just like, shut the fuck up. You don't say shit like that. So I get why David is combative. But from the perspective of everybody else in the house, they're obviously all these white bread people, like except Tammy, but they're all just like not into him. So as soon as something happened where they could be like, that's wrong, they took their shitty attitude of David and just used that to get him out of the house. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
I mean, that's totally what it is. And I remember I didn't watch this season very much. I watched it a little bit because this is right when I started to actually have MTV. When I lived in Pennsylvania, I didn't even have access to that. But when I moved to Ohio, I started to be able to see this shit. And I just remember thinking the same thing, like, why'd they kick him out? Like, it wasn't a fight. He just did one of those things you do when you're at like a house party. Sometimes inevitably somebody just, does something a little bit too far. They take the joke just a little too far. And it's just like a record screech moment. But it was just him just like, taking the covers off. Because I think she had a bikini on, like, right? That's what it was.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. But they have like a hot tub. And they always are around each other in that shit anyway. So it was just, maybe I'm not remembering something. But as far as I can remember, it really was just him sort of playfully doing that. And then people just using that as a way to get him out of the house.
Exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head, man, because this was a buildup. Because he was so combative throughout the earlier episodes, he would have these riffs mostly with John. It would be the typical from the different side of the tracks combativeness, man.
But John's like saying wild shit, Steve. Like John is literally, they talk about rap at one point, right? And David is starting to pick on John because he's like, your music's fucking stupid as shit. It's like country music's dumb. It's all the same. It's all happy. And John's like, rap's just saying a bunch of bad words. You don't need to talk. You don't need to say bad words to get the point across. And then he brings up some fucking like Christian rap group, DC Talk, which I actually think I remember that name because I knew people that were okay. So you do, but it's like, it's not like for him to say that kind of shit. That David is the only person he's saying this shit to, and it like this seems to be the full level of their conversation. So I get it. I'd be like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Dude, there is a
get the fuck out of here.
Like anytime somebody mentions Christian rap to me, I'm like, oh, let me guess, your favorite actress is probably Sandra Bullock too, huh?
Yeah.
Christian rap, you know there's something better than Christian rap? Fucking rap.
Yeah.
Have you heard of rap?
My name is David, and I'm here to say that I like Jesus in a major way, because he's a cool guy, and I like him cool, and he's the best, and he's not a tool. It's like, okay, I just made that up, and that's probably better than DC Talk. So I don't have
way better.
I just spit some Christian bars for you guys, so you're welcome.
But you get the Joel Osteen trophy for that.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, very much feel for David. Obviously, he comes with I feel like, but in real life, if I knew David, he might still have this combative attitude because Steve, not maybe a sidetrack Sally, but I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts. And Dave is a very famous person in the open mic comedy scene of Los Angeles, notoriously because of his bad attitude. In the Comedy Store, which is one of the biggest, if not the most famous comedy club in Los Angeles, even to this day. He would come to do open mic sets. He was eventually banned from the Comedy Store because of his shitty attitude. And actually, a rumor, allegedly, he's had his ass kicked by every open mic comedian in Los Angeles on a certain night for his shitty attitude and dumped in a dumpster behind the actual comedy club.
Wow.
So that may or may not have happened, but eventually he was banned from the Comedy Store. And so I feel like I've never heard this from himself and I've never seen footage, but if that's true, it seems like Dave may have a bit of his fuse is so short that it might be impossible to have a good time with him. You know what I'm saying?
I believe it, man. Well, you know how he got on the show, right?
No.
He grew up and is good friends with Dave Chappelle, and yeah, they're both from DC. They grew up together, and Dave Chappelle was basically the plug. I mean, with his inner workings within the industry, he gave his buddy a lookout, and that's how he got on Half Baked, because they already knew each other.
Well, that's dope. That's dope. What a great connection. Hopefully that's paying off for him now. No shade on Dave in real world. Hopefully he's doing well, but I'm just, citing some facts. And we all grow. Maybe, he grew out of it. I was an asshole too. I was a combative little jerk off when I was in my 20s.
Well, I mean, you would think with a connection like Dave Chappelle, his career would take off. But the last thing that he has credited is Scary Movie 3 that came out in 2003. Now, like I said, he was in Half Baked.
Man, this is some bullshit.
He was also in House Party 3. He kind of played the third guy to Kid and Play. When Martin Lawrence was too busy at this point, his show is out, Bad Boys was about to come out. He was already doing big shit. And, Martin was in the first two House Parties. So it was like, you got to pay me more. I don't know if that was the case, but ultimately Dave Edwards, he would fill that role as the third guy or the foil to Kid and Play. And he was also in Belly. He played a federal agent. I don't even know if it was a speaking role. And he was in some bits in Living Color.
The guy was fun. I mean, when he was in a movie, like you mentioned, Half Baked, he's in it 5 seconds. I remember him. He's a very memorable person. He's funny.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why, there's these problems we're talking about. Maybe that's why he didn't find success. It tends to rub people the wrong way when you show up and, he's just got that I wish a motherfucker would syndrome where you just can't turn that switch off. When I'm in traffic, sometimes you have a bad day at work, you walk around the neighborhood and you hope somebody bumps into you. And that happens when you're in a bad mood. It happens to me. I'll be fully honest. Sometimes I do wish a motherfucker would so I could slap somebody. But, he seems to be a guy where that switch has been broken and is in the on switch or on position at all times. So.
Yeah, because you see whenever Chappelle has a tour or like a celebrity all-star event, it's like he's usually got the same people, like, Joe Rogan might pop up, Donnell Rawlings. And I feel like Dave Edwards, he could be the Donnell Rawlings. He could have been on the Chappelle show if he played his cards right. Because, I mean, he grew up with the man. It was Dave and David. But, it became Charlie Murphy and Donnell Rawlings, man. So it's just all about keeping your marbles and knowing when to hit that switch, man, because there's a time and place. We're all human. And sometimes you got to show a motherfucker what's up. But you can't do that all the time, every time.
Yeah, and he's also a smaller person, I think, so that might be something too. Usually the people that are like a smaller stature do have that, Napoleon complex a little bit where they want to prove that they ain't small in some way,
Oh, yeah. I got a cousin who's a diminutive fella, and he likes to drink and he likes to fight. That doesn't do too well for him.
Yeah, I've always been a bigger guy, whether it was my height or when I was heavy, I was just big as fuck. So usually people don't want to scramble at the most biggest guy in the room, no matter what. So I've sort of lucked out in that regard because I am in no way a tough person. But what I do have is a large size. I get a loud voice when I'm pissed. And I have the attitude when you do set me off and I go off, it happens so rarely that it's almost like a Ralphie and Christmas Story thing where you're getting the full brunt. You're getting like months and months of backup along with whatever. I'm gonna let it all out because I don't get that opportunity often. So thankfully, I've never really had to be like that.
Well, dude, that's the ultimate plan. That's the ultimate strategy, man, is to win a battle without having to engage.
It's very art of war. It's very Sun Tzu,
Sun Tzu, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. See, Steve, we're cultured. Look at that.
Yeah, dude.
Hey guys, we know who Sun Tzu is, okay? So fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And
I went negative again. Jesus. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, bud.
hey, that bitch over there is happy. Let me stop that shit. But we start this episode off, and it starts with Irene, who has to get up early at 5 every morning because she's a fucking cop who likes to shower and change at work because she doesn't like to interrupt anyone's sleep. Who does your hair, Irene? John Waters? And you know what? I bet she... Dude, I bet she has played the prostitute in more times than our four hands can count in sting operations because she just has that look.
Think of that. I mean, she looks like one walking out. Like she has that little dude, like hookers at the point, dude. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like Peggy Bundy meets Selena, and like I feel like I've seen her in a Cops episode. She just has that look where you're doing the behind the scenes, like yeah, I'm putting on my dress, yeah, putting on my lipstick. I'm gonna bust some perps.
Now, if you wouldn't mind handing over the $20 for oral sex.
You're under arrest. She is very much a Charlie's Angel type, like that undercover.
Yeah.
I see that 21 Jump Street style shit going on.
Exactly. Like she looks like she has a job in corporate, but she looks like a streetwalker at the same time. And we realized that her roommate, Tammy, has a suspended license. It's been suspended for 5 months because she has 2 warrants over unpaid parking tickets that have amassed up to around $2,000.
I mean, I'm not one to just judge somebody based on bills, because Lord knows I got a lot of bills in the world, but 2 warrants, bitch, and you live with the cop. I mean, damn. She's literally in the room next to you, polishing her gun, telling you, I'm going to do what I'm going to do because I'm the law. She literally says some shit like that. It's like, bitch, you're a RoboCop. You're a bailiff at the fucking court. What are you talking about?
Dude, okay, so Matt, let's say you knew beforehand that one of the people was going to be a cop, are you signing up for that shit?
Well, this is the 90s and weed was not legal then. So there was no loophole there. So I'm out. I'm not passing the drug test, but I'm just saying, if I'm in real world, my only way to cope is copious amounts of weed. And if that's not a possibility, I'm Dave at that point. Like, I'm not going to last. They're just going to kick me off because I'm going to punch somebody in the fucking face.
Or you would be one of those cast members who's seldomly seen. It is like, I forgot about him. He was only in like 3 or 4 episodes. And in the credits.
I just show up in like a cloudy haze for like 5 seconds and then just go away. Like, who was it? It's like David Chokichi in this. Like, you see him and I was like, who is that fucking guy? That's how I figured out there were other people on the show, Steve. Because I looked up the names and I was like, that ain't the guy. Who the fuck is this guy? And then I find out all this other drama happened. But it's like, yeah, I feel like that would be the move anyway, because honestly, I'm the type of person now, you ain't getting me on video acting a fool. I used to be like that, where I wanted that kind of attention. Like, I know we do this and we do act a fool, so maybe I'm being a little bit of a liar, but in terms of this shit where I'm showing my ass on TV, you're never going to get this kind of shit off of me. I'm not getting this footage. So I would very much be the guy who's like, hey, what's up, y'all? Got to go out to the porch, and then they just couldn't show anything, so.
Yeah, I'll holler at y'all later.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? If she sees something going on, she says, I'm going to do something about it because I am the law. Like, what a fucking buzzkill. Like, you couldn't even smoke weed in your own house. Like, going to a party, I mean, heaven forbid you drink at the party and drive back, because she's going to question you about it when you get home. Like, so you've been drinking while you're...
This is LA in the early 90s. You think they're going to these parties and there ain't piles of blow everywhere? You go to a fucking church party out here, there's piles of blow on the table. You just can't escape it. So what are you just gonna bust every party you go to, chick? I mean, damn. If I was the producers and I heard that, I'd be like, that's probably what they did. They're like, yeah, she's can get her married and we'll make her leave. Because this is fucking, we need these people fucking or doing some other shit. This shit is not interesting.
Yeah, dude, we're going to a L. Ron Hubbard celebration, and she's definitely not going to be there for the virgin sacrifices. She's going to fucking ruin everything. She's going to make everybody put on clothes. Fuck Irene.
Bitch is wearing a wire right now. Goddamn. What are you doing, Irene? She's like, yeah, what'd you say? You're going to a party. Is there going to be any drugs there? It's like, get out of here, Irene. Fucking.
Yeah. You're not getting up at 5 o'clock so you can change and shower at work. You're getting up so you can dig in people's pockets for intel, you fucking baddie broad.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking poof bangs. Now, David and John are having this talk about music and more specifically rap. It's very typical 90s from the other side of the tracks combo. And he's like, you know, John says, I'd recite some of the rap songs I heard, but they say bad words all the time. Have you heard of DC Talk? Oh, yeah, you know DC Talk with the smash hits such as Love is a Verb, Jesus Freak, I Love Rap Music, Can I Get a Witness, and my favorite, Colored People. Yes, that's an actual song from DC Talk. Yes.
What is the context of that song?
Don't know, don't want to know.
That's insane. Well, again, I'm not surprised because look who's talking. Look who's the fucking cheerleader on this fucking shit. Dude, I hate fucking people like this. These kind of fake hicks. Like, this guy's a fake hick. I hate this shit. You're not a poser hick. You don't work at a fucking farm. You live in a fucking nice house in the suburbs someplace in Louisville, but you got some fucking shit kicker boots on. You got a cowboy hat on. And you go around talking about fucking DC talking how y'all say bad fucking words. Don't even talk like that because you don't talk like that, you fuck. I hate
I'm the baddest person in the world, homeboy, word.
Yeah. We dealt like there were people like this in Ohio, these fake hicks. It's like you ain't working on the farm in the morning, bitch.
You just stink.
Yeah, you just fucking smell like you're dirty. You ain't got hay in your hair. That's dirt, bitch. So every time I'm getting triggered, you can tell. I want to fucking slap this dude already, but
because we were there, Matt, we synced it. Like, okay, Mr. AutoZone, fucking John Deere guy. No, dude, you're not about that life. You just don't bathe.
Yeah, you cut your sleeves off your fucking Walmart shirt you bought. You bought a John Deere fucking hat, and you think that you're gonna fucking just fool people into thinking, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about because he obviously has got the gear. If I put a fucking astronaut uniform on, I'm not a fucking in NASA, bitch. So again, I don't like this guy. I don't like his attitude. In my notes for him, I wrote cowboy parentheses twat. So that's where you can see where my attitude's with John. He brings up DC Talk, like you said. The shit you just told me is wild. My fucking head is about to explode on that. Not surprised. But then fucking Dave beeper goes off. So shout out to 90s culture. Beepers were still a thing. His fucking beeper goes off, and then John's like, what, are you fucking drug dealer? You got a beeper? Which, if it was now, you could say that it could be a funny joke. In the 90s, motherfuckers had beepers. So I don't even.
And they were really using them for selling drugs.
I mean, very much so. But beepers were still a legit thing and not just some weird drug culture thing, and that's all it was. So, again, Dave's getting triggered and pulled into these arguments because, I mean, you're just like, of course they're going to argue. But, you know, that was the conceit. You could tell how the producers were trying to mold this reality, and this reality is very much put two opposite people in, or two people arguing, and have them try to have a discussion about a social issue. Because clearly they're just trying to get these people to talk about race. Because if I'm an evil producer, I'm like, put him in there. That dumb fucking hick kid's gonna say some stupid shit. They're gonna get in an argument. Dave's gonna pull him back onto the other side, explain shit, and then they're gonna have a moment where John's like, "Oh, I didn't even realize I was a dumb motherfucking shit-kicking piece of shit. I'm sorry," but that never happened, you know.
No. So. And I gotta say, man, despite us shitting on John, his shirt selection is fucking fire. And I don't think this is his own personal wardrobe. I really believe MTV is lacing this man with these colorful shirts. Even the one in this picture. I would wear some shit like this. Like you can't
I
really see
mean,
it.
I can see the colorful, like Zubaz like design on it, very neonish. I like it. But then he's got the dumbass fucking urban cowboy hat on and the fucking, would you run a rodeo, John? You fucking douche.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that shit. Again, I'm sorry. We need to get off of John because I'll just fill an hour and a half with me shitting on that guy.
Well, okay, enter Dominic, who is Billy Idol meets Bono meets Craig Ferguson. And he brought his German Shepherd, George, to the house. And the dog runs around the house to get a feel for the place. You know how dogs do. It's like, this is new surroundings. Let me wag my tail, bark around, give it, set
Bow
set
wow wow
my
yippee yo yippee yay. It's a fucking house. I mean, the fact they're allowed to have pets, again, this is a different kind of real world. These people come in with like real lives and are not just degenerates that want to drink a lot. They all seem to have jobs, they have pets, they're real people, except for John, who is a fake fucking cowboy. But they're coming in and Dom wants his dog there. I have a dog. I wouldn't want to be without my dog for however long you're stuck in this fucking house. So I get it. But the dog's not meshing well with cat lady Beth and her shitty fucking cat that like the dog wants to kill it. So they're not tensions in the animal world and in the human world in this respect.
She's fearing for her poor kitty, but Flock of Seagulls says the dog stays. And the cat has no manners, Dominic says. He says it should stay in Beth's room, rightfully so. Like, if the thing has fucking who knows what, and, cats are evil. It's to keep that shit in your room. If you want the cat so bad, keep it within your realm. I got a dog. Now, if you don't want that motherfucker to be mauled to death, it's probably wise for you to keep that within your living space, Beth.
Yeah, do like all LA cat owners. Lock it in a bathroom with the fucking litter box and let that shit just slowly degenerate the room until you have to move. Don't expose everybody to your shitty cat. I'm not a cat guy, Steve. I'll tolerate
Me neither.
that. But in this regard, fully on Dominic's side, even though he does see, I almost thought he had an accent, and I feel like he's so in character for a British like Billy Idol type guy that he's almost trying to emulate it a little too much,
It's a little too late too. Like it's 93, Dominic. Why are you dressed like the fucking Culture Club? Like this shit was not even.
I did not even place that because I was like, he's kind of like got an Oasis vibe, but he looks like he would go to like a Motley Crue concert, Very weird.
But I get it. He's from Dublin, so maybe they're set back. They can't keep up with us Americans. They're probably like, even though it was 93, it was probably like 87 back in Ireland.
Yeah, that is true too. You never even think about that. Dominic very much coming off as like he's almost like an elitist over Beth. But I get it, because Beth's a crazy cat lady and she's just putting off this energy. She has that shitty white chick energy where she's just like, okay, Dom. She's got that, shit kicker grin on her face, and she seems like a schemer almost, She seems like she's got some schemes. But again, that's just me judging her. We do that on this show quite a bit, as if you're not familiar. So they're both ahead. And Dominic's not giving. He wants his dog, and I'm fully just, as I say, fully in support of this, and fully in support of my previous comment that this is just fucking, what we're talking about is boring. These are the things, they aren't about to fuck. They're not in a blackout about to fight 5 people in a bar. These people are in the house talking about, oh, I want my dog, I want my cat. Oh, I like rap music, I don't. Like, what? Get half naked. Have something explosive happen. You live in Venice, California. Do something.
Well, it's the second season, so the producers have yet to really spice it up. They haven't figured it out. They're still trying to figure this series of Real World out, and how we can get more viewers, how we can get more clicks. We got to say more naughty things for clicks. Let's get into some fights. Let's throw some alcohol in there. Hey, all the alcohol you want. You want to almost die? Let's send somebody to the ambulance for the first fucking episode. Let's have this closeted gay man slap this bitch in the face and throw her fucking favorite doll, teddy doll, in the fucking river.
Or dude, what about this, Steve? Sweet bamboo dwee. Twee ba boo, twee ba boo, twa. Dude, that shit was fire, dude.
And his name was David, I believe.
Hey, well, there you go. One bad David, one good David. And good David had that fire R&B shit, dude. He was like, I think that one of the Isleys had like a illegitimate son, and he was just out there, just had with the skills, but he didn't know who his dad was, you know.
And
Come
you
on,
know,
be my baby tonight.
It's a little bit of Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I mean, he got that. He had just the balls to be out there with a keyboard scatting on some R&B shit. Just like salute to that guy. You know, he shot his shot. He tried to get famous off that, and I respect that.
And you know, Beth's friend, the cat lady Beth, her friend James is having a party in Beverly Hills, and they're driving to the party in Beverly Hills, and it seems like it takes them forever and a day to get there. But they finally get there, and it looks like it's like, as the kids say, a whole vibe, a very early 90s vibe. There's a guy in a denim shirt, a guy with no shirt, a guy with a flannel shirt, a guy with a white t-shirt under a sports jacket. And there's women smiling in front of the party plug. And more importantly, no black people. Yay. I like it here in 90210.
Yeah, I mean, from an LA perspective, they're in Venice. I looked up where that house is. They're right near the boardwalk on Venice. And that's pretty far away from Beverly Hills. They get lost. Very much like just boring. This is my experience going to LA parties. I'm not a party person. Steve knows that from when we were in college. I don't like that kind of shit. But going to an LA party is always this. You go to a place with a bunch of people. You don't know who's the owner of the party or the party guy. You show up. There's some weirdness because you're not supposed to be there. You stay a little bit and then you leave. And it's just sort of not an appetizing experience, if I say the least. And that's kind of
always feel like you always feel like you don't belong.
Well, and it's, you know, I feel like maybe that's part insecurity, but I guarantee you take 10 people there and 8 of them are going to walk away with that same taste, because it always is. It's like, who are we seeing at this? And it's always like, oh, I know a guy who knows a guy. It's like, I don't that's not enough for me. Like, can we get some more details? Like, how many people are supposed to show up? And then it's, you know, I've only gone to a few, and it's just always been very much this. And then if I even stay, my move is have enough weed where I can be that guy, where I can be the guy who's like, hey, who wants to hit this blunt? Who wants to roll a blunt? Like, and then that weed, like Chris Tucker said on Friday, weed lets you know, and it will attract the right kind of people. But invariably, even that doesn't happen. So I'd be pissed, because traveling in Los Angeles sucks. I get the bad attitude. And then when you show up and see what happens to like Dave and everybody, who's like, Beth somehow meanders in because she's white and she kind of looks like everybody. But then like Dave, Glenn, or whatever the fuck the guy's name is, they get stopped and the people are like, this is not, we don't want all these cameras. Like, you can't come. You're not invited. So I'd be pissed. I'd be like, man, fuck you, bitch.
Like, who do y'all know? Like, who the fuck are y'all? Like, y'all showing up looking like Culture Club, and you over here with this cowboy hat and this loud ass Keenan Ivory Wayans shirt. Hey, Sting, who said they know people here? Beth? What the fuck is a Beth? Well, look, y'all find Beth, and I'm gonna redirect y'all back to the Partridge Bus, because I don't know Beth and I don't know y'all.
Yeah, they'll be coming in here with like 10 fucking cameras. If I was the person who was throwing the party, I'd be like, get them out of here. You got fucking Coke on the table. I can't have you with fucking what is this? Fucking, you know, whatever, Dateline NBC? Fuck. You're fucking the vibe up. There's people fucking getting their dicks sucked with Coke on it in the living room. You're coming in. Like, I can't have this. So I get why the party goes. Like, people don't want that. Dave seems to take offense. You know, they leave. Eventually, you just leave, and everybody leaves. Beth is told to just go up in your fucking room and stay up there by John, because there's going to be drama, because everyone else is pissed. I would be one of the people. I think you would be too, but I wouldn't, you know, I would expect it. If you're in LA and you're like there for any amount of time, expect that's probably going to happen. The people are shitty most of the part, and you're going to run into this. So While I understand the rage and the anger, I wouldn't care. But Dave specifically is pissed because he had some issues with the people at the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said they were looking at him funny. And like, I expected that. Like before he even said that shit, I'm looking at the party and I'm seeing there are no colors. And I know Dave is there, and he's basically the token of this party. And I'm just like, yeah, he's probably not going to be received well.
And that's, I mean, obviously this is way back in the day, but that is, of course, he's going to be fucking pissed. If I was him, see, this is where I feel like maybe they got smarter, or like somehow I hope people understood what they were getting into in this show, because here's the thing people seem to always forget that I like to point out whenever I possibly can. When you call things reality TV, if you think that they're just in there filming these people and this is all naturally happening, it's not. There's a guy behind the camera telling them shit to say or talk about, or putting them and nudging them in a different direction so that it's usable footage, basically. So, you know, this is not reality anyway, but like, I think it became aware, and obviously like Dave Chappelle actually made like a joke about it with that Mad Real World thing, where it was like, you could tell like they would get black people on, but then like every time it was just one or two surrounded by the most whitest, craziest people possible. So the only thing that ever happened for a black person on Real World was they had a scene where they went into a rage, you know, because of the insane shit. And to go back to this episode, they're talking about this, and Dave is talking about, you know, the way they were looking at him, how he was offended by that. And then John brings up the fact that he did have a Malcolm X jersey on. Like you said, a very like, it was just the style, it was the fashion, and Dave had it on.
It was a thing, yeah.
Yeah, it was a thing. But then John says, well, if you can, it's brought up in some way that at some point in that conversation, John, I don't know if you caught this, said, if you can wear that, can I put up a Confederate flag? So at this point, here's my note here. John says that bullshit. Light him up, Dave. Like at that point, if Dave did that, where he said that, and that was the last scene he had, legend, you're drop the mic, one of the greatest moments in TV. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. But again, that's what the fuck that guy had to put up with on this show. So as much as I went to kind of explain Dave Edwards and maybe some issues he had with anger, in this respect, like, these people, fuck this fucking cowboy guy, because he legit said shit like that, which time and place, that's why they were filming this show. But I brought up that other thing to say that that's why this happened. There was a producer, these guys probably would never hang out. You know, like if you were on a show and you were just naturally taping it, they wouldn't be in the same room, but they're like, hey, go hang out. We're going to film. That's the whole idea. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, of course that this happens. And of course, Dave Edwards has this reaction, but again, it's because some guy created this behind the scenes to make it happen. And I get Dave's anger. And I think that's why you see these moments with like Dave or other black people that have gone and like had like an incident with like anger. Like you said, that guy slapping that chick.
Steven. Had to be named Steven.
You're right. Yeah, sorry, Steve. But you put in a position where it's like, not only are these people saying wild shit to your face and it's being taped, but also there's a guy behind the camera who's basically your boss making it happen. So I'd be like, what am I supposed to do? And at that point, I would feel like cornered almost, and probably haul off and at least like curse everyone in the house out, leave, and cause a scene. If not, like go into a violent blind rage. So they're very lucky, you know.
And that's the only scenes that they catch. They don't show you precursors a lot of times. They just show you the point of explosion.
Yeah.
The guy. Yeah.
And like honestly, I feel like that thing about the Confederate flag, they didn't show him saying that. It was Dave brought it up, and you just happened to like hear that it happened. But I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
like exactly. Jesus fucking Christ. But anyway, so that happens, and you see like again, they show examples that they're putting these two people in a room, and Dave's like, half the time we get along, but you don't see that. But then half the time, like, I'm at the dude's throat because of some shit he's saying. Because this John guy's 18 and he is very much the argumentative asshole teen still. You know, he's going out of his way to like point out anything he can to argue with Dave, which is, I'm white. Here's some white shit you should listen to instead of this dumb fucking rap music or whatever. So this keeps happening. It's gonna happen, I think, until Dave's gone. But then Beth, she's up. She's like, what's her face up in the tower? She's like a princess hidden away in the tower. She doesn't want to get yelled at by everybody else. But then she goes down and does the white girl thing where she's like, hey guys, are you mad? And of course everyone's mad. You know? Like,
they're all gonna scream about it. Like, they're all gonna bitch about it, especially the Dahmer. He has a nickname now, the Dahmer.
I mean, fuck. But hey, they sort of go through it. Dominic, aka Billy Idol Jr., flexes and is like, I wish your cat was dead, I think he wishes death on the animal. They have a little thing, but this is very much petty roommate shit. We go to bed it sort of goes further in time. And actually, again, Dominic is a writer. So he has a job, very much different than most other real worlds. These people have incomes and are working. So he's writing. He actually sold a couple pieces while they're filming this. So with this new money comes a newfound good attitude about Beth. Him and Beth start vibing a little bit. They start joking around. He makes the sale. They're laughing. And Dominic, even after all this shit talk, after all the hatred, after him saying he wishes her cat was dead, actually goes into a confessional and says, you know what? I think we turned a corner. And I think everybody in this house is going to get along great. This is going to be a great experience. And that ain't the case in a lot of respects. But, precursor to some other shit that we don't get to see yet. Again, Dave and John continuing to butt heads. They just keep cutting back and forth to this. Aaron, the David Chokachief clone or son or whatever he is, he's just like in the background. Maybe he was like smoking weed. He does have that surfer boyish LA vibe. Maybe that's what he was doing, but he's nowhere to be found. And the only other note I have about this episode is Irene's fucking shady ass. Let's get back to the Charlie's Angel. She has a husband or a fiance that she misses in this episode, right, Steve?
And she's depressed. She misses her Tim.
Oh, it is Tim. Yeah, Tim. Okay. Tim.
And they're playing Sade, Ordinary Love in the background.
Ooh.
And John strumming on his acoustic. And while he's strumming on his acoustic, Dave, he implements little parodies of mentioning masturbation and different things like that. And just to ruffle his feathers. And David also is tripping over some styrofoam that John left on the floor. It's like this huge deal. We don't know where the styrofoam came from. Why is there like a bunch of styrofoam on the floor? These little foam droplets, but it's really pissing David off. And we kind of end the episode on that. Him just going into the rage about these little styrofoam bits. And they do a little trailer of the next episode, and it shows like it's focusing on the relationship between Tammy and David. They're having somewhat of a kindling, little kinsmanship, friendship of sorts. And as we know now, that's going to turn to shit here in a couple episodes.
With Tammy, we didn't get a lot of you in this episode, and I'm sorry, because that's the one bright spot I have about this season. And she was nowhere to be found. All we know about her at this point is she has a couple of warrants, no license, is driving around Los Angeles as such, and is hot as fuck. So I guess we'll see her later.
And we would see her throughout the decades. It seems like Miss Tammy never went away. She would eventually be married to NBA All-Star Kenny Anderson of the New Jersey Nets at the time. Yeah, she was married to Kenny Anderson. They had a couple of daughters, I believe, and she would also resurface on the Basketball Wives in Basketball Wives LA, where she had a recurring role, and she eventually left the show. But she has found even more newfound fame on the social media sites. She has a podcast called the Bonnet Chronicles, I believe. And she's wearing a bonnet in all of the episodes, and she's just kind of speaking her piece on current events and what the things that are going on in the media. So you could probably say Tammy could be the queen of reality TV because she was on this show, which is kind of the reality show that started a lot of reality shows. She was a part of that. She was a part of the Basketball Wives in later years, and now she's doing her thing in social media. So shout out to Tammy.
Oh, damn, Tammy, I didn't even know. So that's, hey, congratulations to her. And hey, future guest.
Possibly.
Get the real tea about this situation. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, at the end of this season, man, I believe she started dating Kenny Anderson. This was the beginning of their relationship. And I'm sure he had more than enough to pay for those $2,000 in unpaid parking tickets.
How can I be a worthy mother when all I want is my children's cereal?
Kellogg's Frosted Flakes just for kids? Brave adults say no.
My wife said she'd do anything to help. I told her to get me a spoon.
Now more than ever, these adults are stepping forward to admit they love that sweet, delicious crunch.
My passion finally led to a marriage of convenience. He's a milkman.
Come on, give in. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
In 1994, the preliminary trial rules, there's enough evidence to try O.J. Simpson. And we've already kind of done a deep dive on this fiasco. But on this day, on July 8th in 94, this was the preliminary trial ruling him. It was a green light, basically, to go to the trial. And on that same day, Dick Sargent, Darren number 2, the actor, dies, born in 1934. So on Bewitched, the first Darren was Dick York, and he started having some health issues, so he couldn't meet his obligations. So the replacement was another actor named Dick Sargent. And for years, Dick Sargent was a closeted gay man, and he didn't come out until the 90s. He actually attended one of the Pride parades with his bae at the time. And in 94, on July 8th, he died from, I believe, pancreatic cancer.
Damn, 90s were just...
No.
Okay, sorry.
He was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 89, and doctors were initially optimistic that it could be treated, but the disease continued to spread, and by early 94, he had become seriously ill.
Fuck cancer.
You suck!
And in 1996, Rocco's Modern Life is airing the episode With Friends Like These and Sailing the Seven Z's. And with Friends Like These, Rocco wins 2 free tickets to a wrestling match from a radio show.
I mean, I know this must have put some, you just had some like triggerings from this, Steve. I mean, was this you back in the day listening to Buzz 106.5, hoping to get some WWF tickets, or?
Man, I never tried these things because I just knew that you had to have a lot of patience, and there are a shitload of people on those telephones trying to get those free tickets. And I was just like, man, you know what? I just don't have the time. Like, you really got to be on the phone. Like, and if it's a busy signal, you got to keep calling and redialing, and that shit gets old real quick. Now the radio station DJ is on his 7th day of Love Fest, whatever that means. And he's offering listeners a chance to win tickets to the loveliest event in O-Town. They're giving away tickets to the WWF, the loveliest wrestling event of the year. The 90-second caller wins, and Heifer and Filbert are making calls in this ocean of telephones in Filbert's living room.
They're doing everything they possibly can. They must have 1,000 lines, which I don't get how you're doing this logistically, but they got them all open. They're trying their best, and Heifer almost is strangled to death by telephone cords at one point.
And this shows you the links you have to go through to win one of those fucking sweepstakes, whatever call-in contests. And Rocco is actually the winner on accident. He was trying to get a hold of Tony's Pizza because he was starving. And they find out, Heifer and Filbert over the radio, that it's Rocco. So they try to out-hustle each other to make it to Rocco to try to get that second ticket. Heifer, he dodges the fuck out of Filbert's house and he dashes to Rocco's only to find Filbert already there sitting on the couch with Rocco. Heifer and Filbert, they do the most. Heifer pops up the next morning just to have Rocco's toothbrush ready with the toothpaste already on it. Filbert's in Rocco's kitchen making him breakfast, making coffee and spilling coffee on Rocco. They're washing his car, mowing the lawn, following him to the grocery store to help him pick his cereal, following him back to like some stray hoes.
I mean, guys, get him get him a cake, get him some cookie, get him some pussy. Like, why are you doing all this? And they're coming off, Steve, it's a little much. Like,
yeah,
I don't want you guys around all the time. You know what I'm saying? And they're just there. Hef's fucking, up his ass. Phil's trying to get these tickets. And what's really bad in this respect is Rocco doesn't even fucking know what like wrestling is really. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He doesn't even want to go, but these motherfuckers are doing their best to get in there and they're doing themselves a disservice, I guess you could say.
They're doing the most. And Rocco wakes up the next day and he's handcuffed to Heifer. And Heifer wants to make sure he goes to this WWF match with Rocco. And then Filbert cuffs his other arm. So now Rocco is stuck between a rock and a heifer. And he's getting dragged, trampled, and drowned hand in hand with Filbert and Heifer. They drive Rocco batshit crazy, or should I say wombat insane. And they overhear that radio station's having another call in a ticket giveaway. But this time it's for Monster Mash.
I mean, fuck. If only they knew. And I mean, Rocco, he rips the tickets up. These people are scum. I don't know if you noticed this, but we talked about Ren and Stimpy before, like last week.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff in here that was reminiscent of that to me. It wasn't as disgusting, but they did a lot of like similar close-ups and just some of the cutaways and things. It very much had I wouldn't say they were like ripping it off, but definitely indicative of that same kind of style. It was cool.
Very crude drawings from time to time, just like this radio station DJ. He looks like he's strung out. He said he was on his 7th day of Love Fest. He looked like he was on his 7th day of binging.
Yeah, he kind of looks like rest in peace Wolfman Jack that we talked about. I think maybe that was like the inspiration for that character. He looks definitely like Wolfman Jack if he was gacked out, on a bender or some shit.
Good morning, cats and dolls. Now in the next scene, we have Sailing the Seven Z's. And Ed Bighead's sleepwalking problem is triggered by the memory of an early childhood trauma. And he spells high adventure for Rocco and Spunky.
Yeah, essentially what's going on here is Ed Bighead, who is like what is he? A carp? Or like, I don't know.
A guppy of some sort?
He's some weird looking, but this motherfucker's got some problems, Steve. He was in drama club back in the day. He was in the spotlight. He fucked it up. And I believe he was playing a pirate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they're actually at a play, him and Mrs. Bighead, and Mr. Bighead has a flashback to when he was in that play, and he starts sobbing so loud that everyone in the theater hears him. And we find out that Ed has a fear of pirates. He had a very traumatic childhood experience. Very traumatic childhood experience. I wonder if this was patterned after Wheezy Jefferson, Mrs. Bighead. Because they have the same kind of...
Oh my God, Ed.
Ed. Yeah, very much smoky. It has a little wheezy to it. You're right.
Oh my God, George. Come wax my pussy ass.
So he's having problems. That kind of set off like some sort of PTSD reaction where now every night at 3 a.m., Ed Bighead gets into some sort of sleepwalking / fugue state where he becomes a pirate. And in this weird half awake reality he's in, he's actually involving Rocco, his neighbor, and a lot of these like hallucinations. So Rocco's trying to beat his dick at 3 a.m. or trying to sleep. He can't sleep because Ed's out there on the poop deck on his roof, fucking singing the Pirates of Penzance and, you know, swashbuckling, making all this fucking noise, which, fuck, I hate noisy neighbors, so I get this. Or, you know, at one point, he breaks in, he just does a B&E on Rocco, and in this blackout, like, is threatening him like a pirate. So terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. But Rocco's he's at the end of his ropes at a certain point. He's not getting any fucking sleep. Big Head's about to stab him with some kind of wooden sword that he pulled out of his pants. Shit's going crazy. You don't know what, like, how would you deal with this, Steve?
Man, you call the cops. I mean, this is very crackhead behavior. This is crack-ish, man. He makes a makeshift plank on his rooftop, and he has Rocco walk the plank on the roof, and he realizes that Mr. Big Head is actually sleepwalking, that he has no recollection of any of this fuck shit he's doing in the AM, in the early AM. And Rocco goes mad, and he explains to his friends that his neighbor has been sleepwalking for the past few days, searching for a damn treasure map. And Heifer, of all people, he becomes the voice of reason, and he just simply suggests, why don't you just give him the treasure map that he's been looking for? So they go into the kitchen to draw up a fake treasure map, and what does Heifer draw, Matt?
I don't remember, Steve. I'm sorry.
Oh, he draws Filbert's mom.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say no. I do have that note because then we go back. Doesn't Filbert draw his mom?
Yeah, right after Heifer draws these huge turtle tits on Filbert's mom, Filbert starts to draw Heifer's mom, and Rocco's just like, fuck it, I'll just do this myself. And he does something that's closer in resemblance to an actual treasure map. Now, Mr. Big Head shows up unannounced once again with that ahoy me matey shit. Filbert and Heifer entertain these Jack Sparrow shenanigans to the point where they have a full-on cannonball battle that apparently wakes no one else up in the neighborhood.
I mean, how do you modify a laundry machine to be shooting like a cannon? Because I mean, we need to get the engineer wizards in on this one, because I think Ed Big Head figured some shit out.
I'm sure Joe Murray has the finger on the pulse of that.
That's wild, dude. But yeah, so that happens. Rocco gives him this fake, you know, they go through it, they give him this fake map eventually. And then Big Head, it's actually they did bury something, and it's just a toy, I believe. It's like a squeaky.
It's his it's his childhood toy, I believe. Spunky, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's all we get.
And that's all this was for, to get his childhood doll, Spunky.
He snaps right up to Steve. The end.
Yeah. And on that same day in '96, the Spice Girls released their debut single, Wannabe, in the United Kingdom. The song proved to be a global hit, hitting #1 in 31 countries and becoming not only the biggest selling debut single by an all-female group, but also the biggest selling single by an all-female group of all time.
This one, I get another one that got taken over on the radio. Steve, I got a couple of notes. Just to clarify for the uninitiated, Spice Girls. We got Scary Spice, Mel B. She's the one with the camera on the left there. She was my favorite. Hot.
My favorite, yeah.
We had Posh Spice, Victoria Beckham. She's on the right. She's the one that looks like a mannequin. That's from The Matrix. She's David Beckham's wife, very famous. We have Sporty Spice, Mel C. She's got a camera pointed at Mel B. She's, you know, very sporty. Then we got Baby Spice, Emma, very hot, one of my other crushes. And then we have Ginger Spice, who's the one in the middle there, very hot as well. All these very jerkable to young Matt back in the day, except for Sporty. I wasn't that into it, but I get it. She's got a nice
too skinny.
Not that, but just, you know, it's kind of a generic look. It's not my thing in terms of that, but respect. She's a beautiful woman. She's in the Spice Girls. All flowers to her. But Steve, I got a good note for you that my wife gave to me as a alleged story that I think you might appreciate. Ginger and Scary. So Mel C and Ginger, the redhead, very hot. They're still very hot. There's a rumor, Steve, that these two may have hooked up. Yeah. That's exactly what I did when she told me that last night. I was like, I hope that's true. Just please. Because that'll help me. Proves to me there's beauty in this world, that you can still find out about. Like, it makes me not disillusioned by, what's to come. It's like, there's still things out here I don't know, little tidbits that are just so amazing. I just hope that's true. So, ladies, I want to be your lover, okay?
Little tidbits. I mean, that helps me sleep better at night. Yeah, I'm gonna think that. I'm not gonna be thinking about that.
I ain't gonna sleep at all, Steve, and I'm gonna zig all over the place, if you know what I'm talking about.
Got me tongue-tied. Shit. Now that following year, on July 8, 1997, Smash Mouth releases their album "Fush You Mang," and it has "Walking on the Sun" and "Why Can't We Be Friends." The album is 37 minutes and 2 seconds. And I never had a Smash Mouth album, but those songs I do appreciate. And All Star, I did appreciate. And I feel like the time is ripe. I haven't heard it in a long time. I feel like it's safe for me to revisit All Star. And I get the spirit of the song. But sidetrack, Sally, that song wasn't even on this album. Smash Mouth, man, I want to give you guys your flowers while all of you are still here. If you go on tour, I probably won't attend, but you made good tracks on this album, Fush You Mang. Now, on that same day, Primus releases the album, the Brown Album. And I did listen to this. I remember getting this at the CD warehouse back in Perrysburg, Ohio. It's 56 minutes and 54 seconds. It has the song "Shake Hands with Beef" and "Camelback Cinema." Camelback Cinema. Les Claypool is a fool on that bass, man, and not enough props for him. He is a very influential guy on that bass, man. A lot of people talk about Flea and Geddy Lee from Rush, but Les Claypool, man, he's up there with the bass gods.
He's a beast. Obviously, he created the South Park theme, so he's in the ultimate, songwriters, creators. But I always love Primus. They are one of those bands where you don't even need to know who they are. You hear them and it's Primus. There's no argument. I always loved them when I heard them. My only note was I wasn't cool enough, but the cool friends I had, they had these albums, Primus. There was not this album. There was another one that I think was a little more popular.
Just Sailing the Seas of Cheese?
I think that might have been it. But I listened to it through friends, and I always appreciated it. And I'm not surprised that somebody as creative as Les Claypool and as cool as that guy would go on to create something as cool as the South Park theme. So all the flowers to that motherfucker, and to Primus in general. Awesome 90s, whatever you want to call it, band, dude, all of that.
And he also provided the song for Tony Hawk's skateboarding video game. Jared was a race car driver. He's Andy number one.
You're right. Hell yeah. Damn, that's actually track. I bet I know. Once I see it, I'm just gonna set off sense memory because I played that shit for, years straight. God.
That's a banger, man. I actually saw Primus back in 2016. They opened up for Tool. All right. I can't say open up. They were the second band, and Tool was obviously the headliner, man. And just seeing Primus in person, man, all of these guys are talented musicians. Obviously, Les Claypool, he's a slap bass legend, man. But their drummer, he goes nuts. The guitarist, man, you have to be a great guitarist and drummer to supplement that kind of bass play, man. So shout out to Primus. And also on that same day when Smash Mouth released Fush You Mang and Primus released the Brown Album, the 68th All-Star Baseball game is held in Cleveland, Ohio. And the American League wins 3-1 at Jacobs Field. Yeah. Go Cleveland, man. And the MVP of this All-Star game is none other than Sandy Alomar.
Dude, I almost said it before you said it. I can't believe I knew that. But that motherfucker was a legend. So
yeah, man. 97 was despite us losing to the Marlins that year in Game 7 of the World Series, this was a good year for the Indians because obviously the All-Star game, and we had a really good team, man. Just couldn't get past fucking Florida.
I didn't have a skin in the game, but as somebody who went to Jacobs Field and was able to see the Indians play sometime in the 90s, I don't remember when. That stadium is dope. I don't even know if it's still this stadium, but it was dope. And I have a lot of good memories. That's one thing me and my dad did do a lot. He would take me to games. We went to Tigers games a lot and Cleveland games every once in a while. So I definitely have some good memories of that.
Well, it's still there, but it now goes by Progressive Field.
Oh, yeah. That happens a lot. You know, they just change the license of whatever the company is.
And in 1998, on July 8th, Jaden Smith is born. Happy birthday, Jaden. Your dad is really cool. Your mom's really hot.
Yep. And Sal Volcano of Impractical Jokers has tattoos of you on his thigh, which is weird, but, you know, pretty cool.
That is really weird. I would get a tattoo of his sister Willow. She's legal now.
Oh, God.
Now, any callbacks? Shit, hey, she a freak. She's into the polygamy and all that shit, and she has open discussions with her. Yeah, she a freak, like her mama and her grandma, because they have this Red Table Talk show online.
Yeah, I'm familiar. That's where Jada and Will talked about like Jada fucking some young
August Alsina. Yeah. And you know, the grandma is fine as fuck, and they have these open conversations like, yes, I'm into polygamy, mom. And Jada, she's like, you know, her and Will are like those new age kind of parents where they're just like more open-minded about shit. Just like, okay, baby, just be careful, you know, like, all right, shit. All right, let me find out.
We just grew up in the wrong time, bro. That's what it is. You know, everything's more accepted. I wish polygamy was on the table back in the day, or whatever, polyamory or whatever it is, you know. But hey, if your parents are telling you it's good, they seem to be doing great. They both are looking sexy, looking good. They're not stressed out. They're banging. I mean, fuck, you could do worse. So I mean, maybe it's gonna work out. And I apologize if Willow's legal and she's out here and she's looking for some penis. I guess that's cool now. Weird for me because I just remember when they were younger, but hey, more power to you, Steve. It's a good bloodline to get a part of, I'll tell you that, you know.
Now, this is a story all about how I robbed the cradle at the Smith household. Now, any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways, Matthew?
It's just a short one because I think on the list of shows we mentioned a Mr. Belvedere episode that may have happened early in the 90s. And while we didn't cover it or talk about it, I just want to point out what a creepy show concept this was. An old, very weird-looking English butler working for Bob Uecker, taking care of this family. I watched the show all the time. And thinking back, it's a creepy concept, but I love the theme song. And that's all I wanted to point out. One of the best theme songs.
Comes
because sometimes things get turned around and no one can. From about below. I could actually sing the sounds until we get to the end, but I'll save that. But again, I'm sure we'll cover Mr. Belvedere because it is such a weird moment in time show, but just wanted to point it out for everybody. Give flowers to one of the best theme songs of all time. I can't get it out of my head even 30 years later, so it's got to be good, right?
Wesley, I don't know if we'll be able to cover it, man, because I looked it up. Paramount don't have it, Hulu ain't got it, Netflix don't have it. You know, YouTube is acting like the show never fucking existed. You know, so July 8, 1990, that was the final episode of Mr. Belvedere. It was Mr. Belvedere's Wedding Part 2. It was a two-parter. And man, the 6-year-old Steve, when that show ended, I just couldn't wait to go outside and fight people. I was so angry, Matt. Oh, no more Mr. Belvedere. Who do I write at ABC?
Yeah, I mean, what do I do? Where am I gonna get my fix of Bob Euchre? I can't keep watching fucking Major League over and over again. I love it, but I mean, Jesus.
No more Wesley. Who's going to say Wesley?
Hello.
I can't hear that anymore.
I mean, it just was so weird though. Because imagine like being Wesley and you're asleep, and then your door opens, so somebody's checking on you, and you just hear, "Hello, Wesley."
Wesley.
Okay? It's just like, get the fuck out of here, Mr. Belvedere. But again, Flowers, that guy is, I'm sure, is an RIP that we just don't know about. Yeah. And I love the theme song. So again, I didn't see, that's the other thing about the 90s. You didn't really know when shows were over. You know what I'm saying? The season would end, they'd go away. Sometimes shows just would not come back. And it's not like you had the internet. It's like, where's the show? Yeah. Or they were putting these shits out. It was just like, unless you watched Entertainment Tonight, I guess, you didn't know like why Mr. Belvedere wasn't coming back. But I guess maybe it was pretty obvious. Maybe they made it very obvious in that show. I don't remember the last few episodes.
Me either, man. But fun fact, there's a SNL skit. I don't know if you ever seen this, Mr. Belvedere Fan Club, and it's from the Good Cast. It's the Phil Hartman, Chris Farley, and I believe the host is Tom Hanks. And they just say these asinine things. It's like, so what do you think we should do? And Phil Hartman's like, maybe we should kill Mr. Belvedere. And like everybody's looking at him like, no, that's not a good idea. We probably shouldn't kill Mr. Belvedere because I think it was about Mr. Belvedere's show ending, and like everybody's trying to figure out what do they do with their life now. But yeah, that's available on Peacock. And a takeaway of mine, man, we shit on Paramount because they got some work to do. But in fairness, if it wasn't for Paramount, this episode wouldn't be possible.
Yeah,
think about
it. Very true. I gotta say, I did take a note that while we do shit on them, we were able to watch 2 things in 1 week on their platform. And while I feel like that should just be part of the payment I'm making, I guess I got to give flowers and credit where credit's due. So thanks for at least getting your shit together that much, Paramount.
You still got work to do, motherfuckers. Now, what's going on in Crush Gasm this week?
More of the same, more great guests. We just had Rod Kim on. He talked about his love of Mortal Kombat. Dude's super cool as a composer, musician. I'm not sure. We haven't edited this week's episode. I'm not sure who it's going to be. But just keep tuning in every Wednesday. New episodes, new videos on YouTube, new audio on everything. And we're just going to keep plugging away on Crush Gasm, just like Over the Culture. Steve, what's going on with that?
Actually, I listened to that one this morning with Kim, and now I've said like, man, I don't understand how people are into like animated character, like that was your first crush, but he mentioned Katana, and I could relate to that because I bought Mortal Kombat 2 for SNES. My aunt bought it for my birthday. And I remember her and Melina, they're like, man, they showing off them legs and cheeks and like, oh, that's little, they can fly and like, okay. So I'm with you, Kim, on that. I'm with you on that one, man. But, you know.
I was more of a Sonya Blade fan just because of the, you know.
Yeah.
But, and also in the movie, she was hot. I forget who played her in the actual Mortal Kombat movie. But again.
Keith Sanford's wife. Mrs. Mrs. Vaughn. Veronica Vaughn.
You're right. Hell yeah, it was Veronica Vaughn. That Veronica Vaughn. Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you. I was clocking Mortal Kombat characters in that more sexual way, but I mean, I think that's what they had intended, Steve. You know.
Yeah.
So
because the actress is hot. That Veronica Vaughn, yeah.
I mean, seeing hot ninja bitches with the ass out, I mean, nobody's going to argue about that. And I think our 10-year-old selves, you know, that's probably what they had in mind. It's hypnotic. And I wasn't Katana fan, but I get it, Rod. And I appreciate it. I thought it was a great episode. So tune in.
Yeah, man. On Over the Culture, man, I like to address the Sha'Carri Richardson fiasco. She's the track runner who is basically not going to qualify to be in Olympics. She failed her drug test, and you know, I mean, it was a little bit of weed, the great LaMelo Ball said, as long as he's not smoking crack, let him run track. So I'm going to be talking about that. Wild and Crazy Kids premiered on July 4th. And we're going to be talking about things July 4th on Over the Culture. So Wild and Crazy Kids, Die Hard 2 premiered on that same day. The Prodigy released Music for a Jilted Generation. The Foo Fighters released their debut album. And Scary Movie 2 premiered in 2001. Yeah, son. So we'll be talking about all of that, man. Please like, share, subscribe. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happen in the 90s.